Welcome back to the Build a Nation Challenge. We're on the hunt for a new job, and we might even need to take one in the first division. Otherwise, we could end up homeless. And let's be honest, the weather on the Faroe Islands isn't great for staying outside in the cold for too long. After a few weeks, we're joining the Red Panthers, also known as B68. The main reason for choosing B68 is simple. We have no idea when any other club might fire their managers, as none of them were under pressure. So, we jumped at the chance to make this a real challenge again. Let's see what we've got to do. First of all, we know they were relegated, so our main goal for the first season is to get promoted back into the Relegated, which I think is a very realistic target. Secondly, we need to rebuild the team while managing finances carefully to set ourselves up for bringing in better players. The financial projection isn't great. Most of the money is in the Relegated, so we can't just spend our entire budget on players right away. Our squad looks decent, mostly made up of our own players, with only 2 loans from Suðuroy. However, our players aren't worth millions here. Among the most prominent players is Marcus Østergaard, who is definitely the best player at the club. He's a decent target forward and, importantly, he's from the B36 Academy, so hopefully someone we can build around. Our Vaderhus, a former Suðuroy player, looks like a very solid central defender option. I've already signed him once before, so I know what he brings. John Sölvi Ragnarsson is on loan, but he'll be here next season too. He's a very good central midfielder and will be handy to have around. Now, this is an interesting one. Ken Bjerregaard, an 18-year-old academy player who looks incredibly good in the midfield as a more defensive option. Anders Mikkelsen is another half-decent central defender. And of course, there are quite a few more players, but we might need a big rebuild, even in this transfer window if possible. The work starts now, but I like to begin by building around the best players we already have and go from there. So, what I'm thinking right now is to play a simple 4-3-3 formation that should suit our best players. Then we'll need to figure out if we have players for the remaining spots, or if we need to sell some players to free up wages for new recruits. Okay, so I've been assessing our squad, and currently, our depth looks something like this. Pretty decent goalkeeper options, solid central defenders, and a good defensive midfield. We might actually have a player for every other spot too. It's just about getting rid of players we don't need and adding depth where we only have one option. Overall, not bad at all. I know you're going to ask, and yes, Suðuroy has a new manager named Lars Vorm, who seems to be playing a narrow 4-4-2 diamond formation. Okay, here we go. The transfer window opens up. There were already a couple of pre-made deals before we took over, so we lost 2 players who would have been part of the first team. However, we also got Valtisen from Suðuroy on a permanent deal for £15,000. We're starting our incoming transfers with a loan deal from Skala, Michael Strudal. I want to underline that none of our signings are overwhelmingly good. Our squad is already decent, and I don't want to spend big financially before we move up to the Relegated. Most of these signings are for squad depth. Lasse Keller is going to be our new right back. He's one of the most exciting signings, as he's only 18 and has some potential. The same can be said about Andreas Lund Hansen, a 19-year-old left back. We've definitely upgraded quite a bit here, as we now have 3 decent fullbacks. Anders Markvardsson is a 30-year-old backup to Valtisen in the inside forward role on the right side. He was the best I could get for no money spent, but he'll likely just be a bench warmer. Origin Larsen is similar, just slightly better on the right side. We'd prefer to play Ali Zaruki, but Larsen can do a job, and might also get some games as a central midfielder if needed. Frank Larsen is a central midfielder, and likely a second-choice player who will get a lot of playtime off the bench. After these signings, we've got decent squad depth and a pretty good starting 11. I've gotten through a very long preseason, and I'm fairly happy with our tactic. We only have 2 competitions to worry about right now, the Cup, and more importantly, the First Division. We're predicted to finish 2nd in the league, but we'll likely end up 3rd, as Suðuroy's second team is expected to win it. However, we only need to finish better than the 3 teams below us to gain promotion. Nes Soknar, our fierce local rivals, will likely beat us this season too. I'm going to make the episode shorter and get straight to the point in terms of building a nation. We'll still follow what happens to the teams in European competitions, new signings we make, and how the Faroe Islands national team performs. But I'll skip a lot of the games and less relevant matches and updates with this new club, as we've already been through this once before. I brought in 2 more players before grinding through the season. Óðinn Björnsson, a 30-year-old central defender who will significantly improve our defense. He's also likely to score a few goals from corners with his jumping reach, aggression, and bravery. And Óðinn Björnsson, I really hope you guys remember him. He played for us in Suðuroy from 2026 to 2028 and was very good. Now 30, he's still a solid player who could be a first-choice midfielder or even a false 9 if our top striker gets injured. I'm very happy to have him. If you're wondering how Suðuroy did in the Champions League without us, well, not great. They lost their last 3 games and finished outside the top 24. When I said 1 step forward and 2 steps back, it's more like 5 steps back for Suðuroy, as the AI isn't great at managing in this game. At least it looks like they have a manager with a decent tactic now. Either I'm really good or the AI really sucks, because half a season later, we've won every single game we've played. We're top of the league, 5 points ahead of Nes Soknar. And surprisingly, Suðuroy's second team seems to be struggling this season. The transfer window opens up, but we don't have any plans to buy or sell unless forced to. Coefficient points have been updated, and it was a poor season with only 5,500 points. I think the points might drop even lower in the next couple of seasons. However, we've moved up 1 place from 20th to 19th, which is a new high. I might have been too quick to call Suðuroy's second team poor this season, as they beat us in their home game. Well, it is what it is. Nothing happened in this transfer window at all. Alright, we've been promoted to the Meistaradeildin, which was our main objective for the season. I also hope we can win the title. How did the boys do in Europe? Well, the second qualifier looks good for Havnar Boltfelag and Kleksvikar, who both won their games. That's a good start. Unfortunately, Vikingur lost on penalties in the second round of the Europa League, so we're likely not going to see many points next season. Suðuroy had a fairly easy second round in the Champions League, but I don't expect them to make it to the league phase. Still, it would be nice if they did. Okay. We're almost at the end of the season, and things are a lot more interesting than I thought they'd be. We have 2, possibly 3 games left, a cup game and a league game, both against our rivals, Nes Soknar. Both us and Nes Soknar have 70 points in the league, but we have the better goal difference. A draw in that game will be enough to win us the title. On the other hand, in the semifinal of the cup, the first leg ended 1-1 at home. Since we're away in the next leg, this is going to be a big challenge. But as we know, the cup gives access to the Europa League, so it would be massive to get a chance to beat Suðuroy in a possible final. Okay, we're starting with the cup game, and we have 2 important players out, so I'm not too optimistic about a positive outcome, but we'll see how it goes. It doesn't start well, as they score the first goal from a corner. 10 minutes later, it gets even worse. We have a massive mountain to climb now, and it might be too steep. But our main man, academy player Marcus Østergaard, is a guarantee for goals if he's starting. This is his 39th goal of the season. We also gave away a penalty in the first half, but our 18-year-old goalkeeper, Dulan, saves it. But it wasn't to be. Nes Soknar wins 3-2 on aggregate. To be fair, our rivals were the better team on the day. Last match of the season, and this time we have the 2 players back who missed the cup game. We're also playing at home, and only need a draw to win the title. This should be a better chance for us. Here we go. 40th goal of the season, and it comes after just 4 minutes. Østergaard rises up and heads it in like he's done all season. One of the players missing last match, our inside forward Valtson, pops up at the back post to score our second goal. Nes Soknar claws 1 back just before halftime, also from the back post. Pretty poor defending if you ask me. 61 minutes in, and we're given a penalty. Our normal penalty taker Björnsson isn't playing, so Sudani steps in, and he doesn't miss. Oh man, these back post tap-ins are really annoying. We need better full-backs in the air. We've conceded way too many goals like this. Yet another back post tap-in, this time from a free kick, but it's in our favor, which more or less guarantees our title as it happens in overtime. But apparently, the game isn't giving us a podium cutscene. We've seen it so many times at Suðuroy, so I suppose we can live without it. So, this is the first time in 12 seasons that Suðuroy's second team hasn't won the title. Fair to say, we could hope for a better AI in the next Football Manager. Oh boy, I almost forgot. the European competitions. In the third round, Klaksvíkar managed to win their match and get to the playoff, but Havnar Boldflag got knocked out. So, all the points rest on Klaksvíkar's shoulders. Oh wow, now I feel a bit silly for resigning from Suðuroy and keeping the loan farm going. Klaksvíkar have, for the first time ever, made it to the league phase of the Conference League. This is absolutely brilliant, especially in the season where we took a massive chance by switching things up. Even better, in the league phase, they've already played 2 games and are 8th on the list with 1 win and 1 draw. That's incredible. Let's take a look at some of our players and how they performed, starting with the star player himself, Marcus Østergaard. He has a top average rating at 7.9 and is the top scorer with 40 goals in just 31 matches. What an absolute legend of an academy player. Another important player this season was Ali Zaruki, who topped the assists with 17 in 31 matches and had an average rating of 7.12. Bjorn Andri Valtason is also worth mentioning as a pivotal player in our success. He scored 18 goals, provided 12 assists, and had an average rating of 7.5 in 27 matches, making him the second best player of the season. Óðinn Björnsson was a really good late signing. I already knew he was good, and he didn't disappoint, scoring 12 goals, mostly from penalties, assisting 9, and averaging 7.19 in 27 matches. An update from the national team, and it's not a good one. They're finishing last in Division C of the European League system, which means they have to play a playoff for relegation. It's massively disappointing, and I can't believe they're not firing Paulie Paulsen and letting us take over. The main reason for the national team's struggles is his awful tactics and not using the best players in their best positions. I almost forgot to show you the league table in the Meistaradildin. Of course, Suðuroy managed to win it, but only by 9 points over Klaksvíkar. I'm a bit surprised to see Vikingur completely falling off, but that might have to do with our loan farm falling apart too. Aside from the international disappointment, I think we can be very happy with this first season at B36 and how Klaksvíkar made it to the league phase of the Conference League. However, next season could be problematic. We'll likely need a big rebuild in the transfer window, possibly a change in tactics and formation, and that doesn't guarantee we'll survive.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.